Hello friends, welcome to another edition of Remnant Informal Presents, the Veneration of Mary. We look in vain in the pages of Scripture for any semblance of the kind of veneration Roman Catholics give to Mary. Neither Jesus nor the Apostle Paul nor any other biblical writer ever exalted Mary the way Catholics do. Now think about this for a minute. As we read the Gospels, we are given the teaching of Jesus, yet nowhere in the teachings of Jesus do we find that Mary is exalted or venerated. As we read the epistles written by the apostles for the spiritual instruction of the church, nowhere do we find anything about the exaltation or veneration of Mary. There is plenty in all these books about worship and salvation and prayer and lots of other very important doctrines, but nothing about the exaltation or veneration of Mary. We would naturally think that if Mary plays the important roles attributed to her by the Roman Catholic Church, co-redemptrix, mediatrix, and the like, there would be at least something about all this in the pages of Scripture. Yet there is nothing. In the epistles, Mary's name is virtually absent, and these books are precisely where one would expect Mary's name to be most prominent if the Roman Catholic exaltation and veneration of her were correct. But since her name is entirely absent, what are we to make of it? Any Catholic who looks at the biblical evidence is forced to admit that the biblical support for the distinctive Roman Catholic doctrines about Mary is lacking. If we are supposed to venerate Mary, why didn't Jesus say anything about it in the four Gospels? If we were supposed to venerate Mary, why is it that Mary's name is not even mentioned in any of the epistles? Now, as noted, Roman Catholics are careful to point out that there is a distinction between the adoration given to God, Loretta, and the veneration given to Mary, Hyperdulula. But in the thinking of Protestants, this is distinction between the differences. In fact, it is noted that the words latra and doula can be traced back to the Greek words from which they were taken, and in an etymological study indicates just how closely related they are. It is noted that the words are sometimes used synonymously when speaking of worshiping God. What this means is that the distinction Rome has tried to draw between veneration of Mary and worship of God disappears. Further, despite the official distinction the Roman Catholic Church draws between Latra and Hyperdula, the reality is that many typical Catholics do in fact end up worshiping Mary by their words and actions. And this is the serious thing in the view of God's commandment in Exodus 20 and verse 5. You shall not worship me, or you shall not worship them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. It is highly revealing that the Hebrew word for worship in this verse, avad, is translated in the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament that predates Christ, using both doula and latera. And I hope you take heed to what this is saying to you. I'm not making this video to attack Roman Catholics, but to show the error of this doctrine. Thanks for watching. As always, I stand by the word. God bless.